Perfect.
Tribe, but we about to pop off in a little while, man. We gonna let the tribe get in the room. Salute to everybody in the house. Salute to all the new people. Do me a favor, hit that like, subscribe, share the video if you haven't done so already. If you want to support monetarily, We got the Cash App at the top of the screen, cash.app/$ House of Cons. You can also hit us up on that super chat. Or you can hit us up on the PayPal. We also got merchandise on deck at www.strictlyformonogamous.com. And if you need help with researching your family tree, we also doing genealogy. Hit us up in the chat, let us know where you at. Tribal. Salute Robin Nelson in the house. Salute Eni Young Weah, Nike 903 in the house. Monaga William Scruggs in the house. Tribe up.
Boom shakalaka!
Try but hit the like, share the video, vibe out to the rhythm. Hit us up in the chat, let us know where you at. And we all family over here. Try but salute. But some people ain't gonna like this conversation today, but y'all know how we do over here. We talk about the facts, not the feelings. It ain't no holds barred, my nigga. Try but. I hope everybody ready to try but turn up, my nigga. Yeah, we've been on a hiatus for the last day or two, my nigga. I've been doing other work, my nigga. Been tribing up on the genealogy, trying to help people tribe up on their family tree, my nigga. I've been doing a little research, my nigga. But I ain't forgot about the tribe, my nigga. We back at it one more time today on the public live stream. And we about to take off in about a minute and 27 seconds flat. My nigga, try but hit the lights, salute. You big dummy.
Boom shakalaka.
Tribe up. Welcome to the House of Cons. I'm Black Jack. Hey, it is what it is, November 14, 2023, Monaga. Turn the music down just a little bit. I hope everybody doing good. I hope your family doing good. I hope everybody blessed. Tribe Buck, we here one more time. Everybody new in the house, do me a favor, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Like the video and share it. Everybody you know, Monaga. Hey, we got a good conversation today. We're going to talk about something. We're going to keep the wave going. We're going to stay on the high frequency over here. Shalom, salute to the tribe. If you want to support the house monetarily, we got the Cash App at the top of the screen. Cash.app/$ House of Cons. Because we know YouTube will never support this type of content. They want to suppress the truth. They want to hide American history. But we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about America's hidden history. And we saw that thumbnail. We done seen it before. If you've been rocking with me for a while, we done seen this before. I just brought it back to light one more time to remind you of who you are and who they are, who came on ships and who was always here, Monaga. I started the title that they came on ships, but I said, nah, I'm gonna do America's hidden history, and we're gonna talk about it. And everybody want to know where I got that photo from. If you don't already know, everybody like, where that come from? Some people already know because we done talked about it before. But I got that photo, and I got a couple of other photos similar to it. Now, when we talk about connecting the dots, we talk about who really came on ships, and we talk about what an indentured slave was. You know, the pictures speak for themselves. Now, sometimes they want to lie to you and I and tell us all kind of stories that ain't necessarily always the truth. But over here, we all about uncovering the truth. You know what I'm saying? We'll talk about the lies too, and we'll point out the impossibilities of the lie. But then we'll roll down the alleyway of the truth, and it ain't no way of getting around it. So we're gonna talk about it. But let's look at a couple more of these images, Monaga Tribe Buck. So this a fuller image of what we was looking at. Maybe I can bring the screen up slightly more where y'all can see it better. So we see what it is when you talk about the transatlantic slave trade. You talk about who was picking cotton. You're never shown these images, and it ain't a coincidence that you're never shown these images about American history. It's for a reason you're never shown these images. That's why we're gonna talk about America's hidden history. And like I say, don't think this the only one. This ain't no coincidence. This ain't no coinky dink. This ain't no needle in the haystack. No. The list goes on. But when you go looking up slavery, you don't ever come up with this. You always coming up with something a little bit different. I understand. But like I said before, that's what we here about. We here to wake up the tribe, and we here to talk about the truth when it comes down to the transatlantic slave trade, and who was an indentured slave, and what a servant is, and who was getting whooped on the back. It ain't no coincidence when we get to talking about it. Salute, Tribe Up. So I hope we're making ourselves clear. Let's get into it. Once again, I'm Black Jay. I got some sources I want to look at. We talk about these indentured servants, indentured slaves, because a servant is a slave. You know what you think a servant is? A servant got a master. You're just a different slave. You're just another slave. They call him a servant because he's from Europe and he's indentured. He's just another slave. They call you a slave, they call you chattel. They say you was conquered. But we know you wasn't stolen from nowhere. We know you was stolen right at home, right? We know the true story is over 5 million indigenous people was enslaved, and at least 3 times that amount killed, right? At least 15 to 20 million indigenous people killed and 5 million enslaved from the stories when we start digging on the true history, right? When we look at the slaves that came on ships, we come up with these stories. Now, we can hop right on Google and type in the ships that brought indentured servants to America. We're gonna put it in their language. We want to know who brought the white people and even other people, colored people too, but that came from Europe. We want to know about that. We don't want to hear about no transatlantic Africa, nothing. We want to hear about who the Europeans that came on the ships was, getting slayed and getting whooped, like the images we was just looking at. So right away, they go to talking about crews from the two ships kidnapped up to 60 of the Batistas, enslaved people. It was the White Line, which docked at Virginia's colonist Point Comfort, and traded some of the prisoners for food on August 20th, 1619. Scholars note that the rivals were technically sold as indentured servants, right? So they talking about 20 some odd Negroes on that one, right? We know that's all the hijack. We done studied that. Let's go down some more. 1619 land, they still talking about that. Look at that. You can't even, when you talking about indentured servants coming up, they still want to throw the nog at you. Naga, claim you from Africa. But we gotta get down to the third item in the search, and here we go. Indentured servants in the U.S. history detectives. It's the first arrived in America in the decade following the settlement of Jamestown by the Virginia colony. All right, so they still talking about that. Let's go down some more. They still talking 1619. Let's go down more. Indentured servants in colonial Virginia. The Virginia Company of London declares it is intention to pay to ship 800 new settlers to Virginia, including tenants, apprentices, young women, and indentured slaves. So this looked at, so we had to go down several items to really get to what we was looking for. Take note of that. We had to go down several items. We had to go to the Encyclopedia of Virginia to really get somewhat of what we're talking about, right? Let's start with this one. Indentured service in colonial Virginia. Oh, they got the indenture of James Bracken, right? Let's see what they talk. Indentured servants were men and women who signed a contract, also known as an indenture or a covenant. They signed a covenant, Managa. But see, that's something like your ancestors signed a covenant with the Most High. They signed a covenant with the devil. It says by which they agreed to work for a certain number of years in exchange for transportation to Virginia. Like they had some right to come to Virginia. Who told them they had a right to come to our Virginia, Managa? And who told them they had a right to start calling it Virginia, Managa? And once they arrived, food, clothing, and shelter. Adults usually served for 4 to 7 years, and children sometimes for much longer, with most working in the colony's tobacco fields and cotton fields. With a long history in England, indentured servitude became, during most of the 17th century, the primary means. It was the primary means by which Virginia planters filled their nearly inexhaustible need for labor. At first, the Virginia Company of London paid to transport servants across the Atlantic, but with the institution of the head right system in 1618, look at that, way before 1619, y'all pay attention. Before they told you some old Negro, but later on, with the institution of the head right system in 1618, so we talking much earlier than some so-called 1619, right? The company enticed planters and merchants to incur the cost with the promise of land. They say, look, man, y'all incur the cost of bringing these European white slaves over here, and we'll promise y'all some land. And the promised land, of course, right? As a result, servants flooded into the colony. They had white European slaves flooding into the colony, where they were greeted by deadly diseases and often harsh conditions that killed a majority of newcomers and left the rest to the mercy of sometimes cruel masters. And it sounds like they're talking about you. Well, we talking Europeans here. Who had cruel masters? How they want to call him a servant? They call you a slave. Speaking in the fourth tongue, it's the same thing. A servant is a slave. Somebody's my servant, they're my slave. If I get a woman and I lock her in my bedroom and I say you're my sex servant, she a slave, right? It's just another way of saying it. That's all it is, another way of saying slave. You say you're my sex slave. It sounds just as bad as saying you're my sex servant. Peep what I'm saying here. And they had sometimes cruel masters, Managa. They said these slaves had, these indentured slaves, they said they had very cruel masters a lot of the times. They had very cruel masters. they was playing whoop that trick. They were like, oh, they were like, they got something wrong, or they tried to buck and get away. All they heard was whoop that trick, whoop that trick, whoop that trick, whoop that trick. These indentured slaves that they never show you a picture of for some reason. They say, oh yeah, don't show them that. They say, yeah, make sure you don't be popping off with the slave stuff around here. You're like, we can't have people knowing, especially that the masters was Nagas at one time. We can't let them know it was Nagas whooping Europeans all across the back. We can't let them know that way before 1619, 400 years of slaves started with Europeans. Yeah, these inconvenient truths. These is truths that they want to hide. Let's go back to what we was reading. They said they was left to the mercy of sometimes cruel masters. The General Assembly passed laws regulating contract terms as well as the behavior and treatment of servants. Besides benefiting masters with long indentures, these laws limited servant rights while still allowing servants to present any complaints in court. Just that, slaves could present complaints in court too. So what's the difference? Skin color or where you from? Oh, if you indigenous people, you was doing diversions, you would turn you perpetual slavery, huh? Until different, huh? But if you were European, you were just a temporary slave. By the end of the 17th century, the number of new slaves in Virginia had dwindled, and the colonists' labor needs were largely met with indigenous people. We ain't gonna honor they hijack. They want to say enslaved Africans, so they speaking the Nagas, but we know that they enslaved 5 million indigenous Nagas. Let's read that again. By the end of the 17th century, the number of new servants in Virginia, new slaves, had dwindled. They said they had done finished their indentures. By the end of the 17th century, the number of European slaves in Virginia had dwindled because they finished their time limit. And the colonists' labor needs were largely met with 5 million indigenous Americans. That's what the true history shows. Slavery had a long history in England. Servitude. All right, servitude had a long history in England. What is servitude? Synonyms for servitude. Synonyms for servitude, right? Let's see what the first one is. All right, so the first two, all of them, everything that got to do with servitude and slavery, enslavement, bondage, subjugate. You got subjugated, subjection, domination, thraldom, serfdoms, vassalage. You were vassalage. Thraldom. I ain't never heard of that. Y'all heard of thraldom? Sir, okay. So the history of thraldom. Thraldom had a long history in England. Bondage had a long history in England. Enslavement had a long history. Slavery, subjugation had a long history in England, dating back to medieval serfdoms. The Ordinance of Slaves, passed in June 1349, declared that all men and women under the age of 60 who did not practice a craft must serve anyone requiring their labor. Parliament updated the law in 1495. What 3 years after America, huh? And 1563, with the later versions, the statutes of artificers, still being in effect when the English founded Jamestown. Look at that, still in effect. So who got something over here? If servitude, if bondage, if slavery, subjugation was still in effect when they founded Jamestown, who was subjugated? I told you, you wanted to be equal. You still be trying to be equal to these people. You trying to be equal to a slave? You was free, Managa. Why you want to get down with their system and vote and all this and that? You was free. You was outside all that. They was intruding. They said, nah, we want to be citizens. We want to be slaves too. What, citizen is a synonym for slave? I don't know. Let's find out. Shit. Synonym. Look. Oh shit. See. Subject, you're getting subjected. See, passport holder, native. How's look at it? Look what all the synonyms for citizen is. The first one is a subject, though. You subjected. You a slave. Our ancestors wanted to be citizens. Not all of them. Not all. Some of our ancestors was on some Some of our ancestors wasn't with it. Some of our ancestors was about that action. They wasn't trying to be nobody's subject. They wasn't trying to be subjugated, trying to be no slave or no servant like these foreigners that came over here. Our ancestors were not trying to be a subject. We didn't care about being a passport holder like the foreign indentured slaves that came over here. We weren't natives, we was indigenous people. You ain't want to be no taxpayer. You wanted to be a voter though. Now you ain't an indigenous. Now you an inhabitant now. You a resident now. You everything but indigenous person now. You everything but somebody born free. Cause you wanted to be equal. Our ancestors wanted to be equal, and some of us today still want to be equal. Original man want to be equal to mankind. You want to be a servant too. You want to be a citizen. You want to be subjected. You want to be the subject. You want to be the U.S. government subject. I don't want to be nobody's subject. A legally recognized subject. You want to be now you got not be talking about, yeah, that's my government name. Yeah, that's your government name, all right. Now it is. It wasn't before. Subject. Look, either native or naturalized. Look at that. Either native or naturalized. Wow. You can either be a naturalized indentured slave, or you can be an indigenous subjected slave. It don't matter. The U.S. government is taking them all. Everybody getting whooped. Everybody getting whooped every day out here. You getting whooped for your rent money. You getting whooped for everything, nigga. You want to be equal. Let's look at some other stuff. We ain't gonna even read this whole one. This a long one. This one here is quite long, lad. But it's a lot of drop here though that y'all should check out to see what the promises they was making to these people and all that was coming over here. You know what I'm saying? They talk about the high mortality rate. They try to put their story on you all the time. They try to, but what's so crazy, they stumble on their words. They try to say, yeah, the transatlantic slave trade from Africa, you know, it's a high mortality rate. Knockers dying on the ship, knockers dying in the water. A few made it, but then you turn around and say, well, dang, how so many of us get here today? They say, well, the population was growing because we kept bringing African slaves in here. Meanwhile, ain't no records of it, though. You know what I'm saying? Hey, yeah, we are Israelites, but the Israelites are indigenous Americans. I understand, like, a lot of people don't get it, that the Israelite is the indigenous American. The Israelite is the Khan. The Israelite is the Hebrew, is the seed of Eber, is of the feather from the other side. It all lined up. You just got to connect the dots. The Israelite is the American, the real indigenous American, the real American Indian, not a Native American, the real nappy-headed Naga. That's who the Israelite really is. Israelite ain't from Africa. Those are the seeds of Ham. Africa is a Gentile nation over there in Eurasia. in the other hemisphere. The seeds of Shem are in the Americas and have always been since the beginning of creation. That's why they found you and told you you didn't have a written language, because you was writing Hebrew. They told you you were somebody else because it was you. They told you from somewhere else because America is India Superior, the land of the Prester. The Messiah of the Abyssinia, Managa. They didn't tell you the Red Sea was in America. That's why they put a dam up. A lot of people ain't know California was once an island because they want to hide the Red Sea. A lot of people don't understand Egypt is really in America. Babylon in America. HSV Overwatch in the house, tribe, but salute. Yeah, many people don't understand when it come down to the Israelites and who the Israelites really are, because all the confusion, all the forward tongue, all the religions and everything that's been lying about the bloodline of a people. The Israelite is the American Negro, falsely being called the African American. The lost tribes look like this. The indigenous people look like this. It ain't hard to find us. They got us classified specifically with the right wording to see the genuine Native American darkies, the real blackamoors. We could take it even a step further. So we know that the indigenous people is the American Negro. We know that the American Indian is the American Negro. We could take it a step further. Yes, the American Indians are Jacob. The Jewish Indian theory. The belief that some of all other lost tribes of Israel had traveled to the Americas, not had traveled to the Americas. America is the promised land. What happened to the lost tribe? Oh, in America. When Native Americans were the lost tribe. I'm not the only scholar saying this. Are Native Americans part of the 10 lost tribes? Yeah, they put in hijacked language. They talking about the Naga though. Yeah, they put in hijacked language. Because somebody stole your title. The indigenous American is the Negro. The American so-called blackamoor, black people. So-called African Americans. That's who the American Indian is when they talking about the possibility of being the 12 tribes of Israel. They talking about these people, not those other people. They talking about these nappy-headed, true American, darky natives. That's who they talking about. This who they say when they're talking about the 12 tribes of Israel. They are not talking about Africans. If you had under the belief system that they are talking about Africans, you got some way to go. You got some way to go with studying. You got a little bit of ways to go. 10 lost tribes. The American Indian descended from the lost tribes. Oh yeah, we know. All the American Indians, Israelites. Yeah, we know. Lost tribes. Yeah. The Indians, yeah, the lost tribes. We know. We understand this. This is old. That's old work. That's old work over here. We know, as soon as I hear Israelite, lost tribes, boom. I don't see nothing else in my mind. Ain't nothing else in my mind. When I see evil, when I see Hebrew, I see evil. When I see Hebrew, I see evil. And I understand the relationship of the Hebrew and evil in us. I understand that. I understand when they're talking about feathers up. When they say Hebrew. When they say evil. We done connected all these dots. We done connected all of them. Hebrew word study, feathers, Ebra. Oh, Hebrew, Ebra. Oh, Ebra. Oh, Ebra. of the feather, Managa, from the other side, from the other hemisphere, from America. It is interesting that this word Ebra for feathers come from Shem, the Shemitic root of Eba. Hebrew, who are the true Israelites? Who are the Hebrew? They was feathered up. They was feathered up. It's all in the genetics. It's not only in the genetics, it's in the dialect. You cannot hide it. Can't nobody hide it. Anyone can be ignorant of it, but for the ones that know, you cannot hide that. You cannot hide that you're looking at the Hebrew, that you're looking at Eber from the other side, and it's the Naga. You know, Robin Nelson got to time people out because they can't handle this truth. Well, we'll walk them down. They gonna take this pain. If they can't hate, they'll take this pain. We'll give them an exorcist today. They'll get an exorcist today. We know who the blessed seed of Eba is. We know who the blessed Hebrews are. It's the American Indian. It's the American Negro. We know who it is. It's not Cush. It's not Ham. It's the seeds of Shem through Eba. Through Abraham, through Isaac, through Jacob, through the American Negroes. Israel. Yeah, hey, if they ain't for us, they can go, because we ain't gonna change. They coming over here and getting these inconvenient truths, my nigga. Hence the title of the show, America's Hidden History. America's hidden history. See, people can't take this pain. Some of the people that can't take this pain, they look like us, but they're not with us. Some of the people that can't take this pain, this bitter truth, they damn sure don't look like us. What they ain't gonna do? We gonna stand up loud and proud and say who he is, cause we know who he is, and can't nobody deny us. And just because somebody ain't studied as well as us. Just because some people are ignorant when it comes to real history, especially Americans' hidden history. If they're ignorant of the fact that the American Negro is the American Indian, is the Israelite, that's not our fault. And they can stay in their feelings. They can let the doorknob hit them where the Most High split them. Robin Nelson got the wrench. If you ain't for us, you against us. Tribe up, salute. They can try to run from this pressure all they want, but they gonna get this pressure. You gonna get this pressure today, and every day we decide to talk about who he is, you gonna get this pressure. Said you ain't have no written language. They tried to hide your written language. They tried to hide who you is. They tried to call you lost. They tried to say your language was lost. Your language was Hebrew. And you was feathered up. Ain't nobody deny this truth. You can't deny us connecting these dots. You think you gonna unconnect the dots that we connect? You crazy. You can let the doorknob hit your ass with the Most High split your ass. That's on my word. Hebrew word study, feathers and wing, the plumed serpent, my naga, the winged serpent, Quetzalcoatl, my naga, Prester John, my naga. The word Eber, feathers come from the Shemitic word Eber. Yeah, they don't like this truth, man. People don't want this truth, man. It's too much to handle, my naga. It's too much fun. The truth, it ain't our fault. This ain't even quote unquote our truth. This is the truth. And the truth can shatter dreams sometimes. The truth can bring people's world crumbling down. But it ain't our fault though. If the truth done turned your world upside down, that ain't our fault. If the truth turning our world right side up, that's not our fault either. That's your ancestors' fault. So don't get mad when we start turning our world right side up and we start taking claim and credit for who we truly are. We ain't on no hijack. We're not bastardizing ourselves. We're not calling ourselves African Americans over here. We're not saying the Israelites are. You sound foolish if you would say the Israelites are from Africa. You sound crazy when we know Africa is in the eyes of the Gentile. We know Africa was reserved for the seeds of Ham. How could Africans be the Israelites when they the seed of Ham? And the Israelites don't even come through Ham, they come through the line of Shem. You sound foolish, Naga. HSV Overwatch tribing up with us. He say that Title 18 United States Code 1151 Indian pursuant to the president, the assassinated Martin Luther King. Hey, but while we speaking on this and the Israelites, let's go on and drop one more bombshell on them, because I know some people come over here with good faith, other people come over here to hate. But let's get one more let's get one more get one more bomb drop real quick. I'm finna pull up something real quick. Hold on. See, Knox be come on here talking and don't be knowing what they talking about. Israelites, this and that, man. Shut up, man. You don't.
Now who sent you, nigga? Shut up.
You know what you talking about, man. Come over here like you know what you talking about. Let's go to community post, man. Let's connect one more dots for somebody that don't know. Talking all this Israelite stuff, man. Do your history first, especially before you come after me. Come after me, load my chat up with a bunch of messages. You better know what you're talking about, cause I'll pull your card on sight. Anybody. I passed. I must have passed what I was looking for. Hold on, where it's at? Did I pass it? No, I ain't passed. It's further down. I got something just for homeboy, just for little buddy that don't know, cause he don't know. Like, buddy, have you saying hey, salute to Demetrius Ross, the herbal chef in the house. Tribe up. Like, buddy got a problem with the American Negro or the American Indian being the lost tribes of Israel, or being the seed of Jacob, being Judah, my nigga. If he got a problem with that, tell him to go talk it out with the U.S. government. And tell them why they got the promised land with this on the U.S. seal. Tell them why I guess he don't know about that. I guess he don't know what George Washington said about the Nagas in America. He don't know. Let's go on to school him real quick then. Show him what George Washington said about the Nagas in America. Let's show him when he said George Washington said these Nagas are the Israelites. He said, let's make the great seal, the Exodus. Moses standing on the shore and extending his hand over the sea, thereby causing the same to overwhelm Pharaoh. Right? The great seal of the United States. I mean, not George Washington. I meant to say Ben Frank. Ben Frank's great seal. Yo, it was Ben Frank idea, huh? He had the third eye vision. He knew what was going on. He put the Exodus on the great seal of the United States. I wonder why. I guess the Israelites ain't the American Negroes, they ain't the American Indians. I guess Ben Frank ain't no. Let's see what else Ben Frank had to say about the American Indians to make sure he talking about the Exodus in America. He talking about the Indians. Let's see what else Ben Frank had to say about the Indians. Let's see what he had to say. America as a man, Arthur Ben Frank, as America as a man, opportunity. That ain't what I'm looking for. Yeah, observations concerning the increase of mankind. That's exactly what I'm looking for. When he's speaking of America, the land being thus plenty, the land of plenty, the promised land in America, and so cheap, so that a laboring man that finds, okay, what is he talking about on him? Let's put it up. Let's put up the whole document. Where he telling you that we don't need the dark in America. It's already dark. It's already noggered up. He telling you the Indians noggers, and he telling you they the Israelites. And this is the observation concerning the increase of mankind. 1751, observations concerning the increase in mankind. The immediate occasion for writing this essay, according to Van Doren, was the British Iron Act of 1750. Blah, blah, blah. Let's skip forward. A few far-sighted Britons and most Americans, blah, blah, blah. Let's skip forward. People in other countries. Here we go. Observations concerning the increase in mankind. Tables of proportions, marriages and birth for people increasing in proportions to numbers of marriage in cities and countries, blah, blah, blah. Europe, stroll down. see what he say about the Indians, Managa. I had it already up. Let me go back. Let me see if I can pull it back the other way I pulled it up. Benjamin Franklin, this racist project for the future of America. Hold on, is they gonna give me the quote? Hold on, that's back. So I gotta scroll all the way through it. Let's see. Let me see if they gonna go straight to it. See, some people have it set up different. Let's see if I get to the observations concerning the increase founding fathers to portray. Hey, he say America black enough, basically. He say we don't need to bring no more Nagas. Y'all talking about slaves from somewhere else. He say it's plenty Nagas over here. He said we need to lighten it up. Look, his first argument against slavery, therefore, is that it is cheaper to have wage laborers till the land. This remark also shows scorn for the working class in Britain. Look, the Negroes brought into the English sugar islands have greatly diminished the whites there. They weren't brought there. They was already there. They were only brought from North America. The poor are by this means deprived of employment. And he said listen now. He said they greatly outnumber. He said you in the stronghold of the Naga, you outnumber wherever you go. In the northern colonies, slaves are not in as high demand as the sugar plantation. However, slaves also pejorative of the families that use them. The white children become proud, disgusted with labor, and being educated in idleness are rendered unfit to get a living by industry. Slaves, in other words, make white people lazy. All right. Look, now here's what he say about America. Peep this now. This is telling y'all, I'm telling you, like Ben Frank just told y'all when he made the Great Seal, he had been in America a while by then. He said, I didn't know. I was over here in the land of Moses. He was like, these are the Israelites. He like, let's make the Great Seal the Exodus. Ben Frank. Then back here on the people in the other countries, he told you his final remarks concerning who should inhabit America come at the end of his essay, where he states the number of purely white people in the world is very small. He said it's not that many white people in the world. He said all Africa is black as hell. He said all of Africa is mostly or tawny. He said Asia is chiefly tawny, light black. He said America though, excluding the indentured slaves, excluding the newcomers that came on ships. He say America, excluding the indentured slaves, wholly so, black as hell. He say America is wholly so, excluding all the new people. He say America is wholly so. Let's read it one more time. So when we talk about the American Indians being the Israelites and making the Great Seal Exodus, man, you better get your study on, man. Or you gonna get called out by somebody that studied more than you. His final remarks concerning who should inhabit America. All of Africa is black. Asia is chiefly black. America is wholly so. All of Africa is black or tawny. Asia is mostly tawny or caramel. America is wholly so.
Darkness, everybody, darkness is ready.
And then he turned around a little bit later and said, "Oh, let's do the Great Seal." Wow, I didn't know where I was at. I'm in the Promised Land. I mean, it's all right if we have to start over sometime. I'm glad that happens sometime because we will start back over, rewind, and we'll come back to and get everybody back to square one, and we'll be on everybody on the same page, Managa. We need everybody on the same page. And we ain't scolding nobody. It ain't somebody's fault. We all been brainwashed and hijacked. It ain't somebody's fault if they ain't studied as much as us. But you can't come in here trying to run the chat, trying to think you finna correct me, and you wrong. Because we're just gonna correct you, especially in front of everybody. We're gonna turn it into a teaching lesson. Yeah, we will. You know what I'm saying? That's what it's all about. We all about learning. We tried up, we family, we over here, we talk together. Hey, we can get on each other's ass at any time. Salute, tribe up.
Big dummy.
Cause this is all about correct knowledge. Not no fault. We're not gonna keep running back to hijack. if we gonna put ourselves back in Africa every time, we might as well say we came from a monkey. We might as well call ourselves a Gentile, call ourselves mankind, call yourself a Hamite. You might as well call yourself all of that. I ain't gonna dishonor my forefathers and my foremothers. I ain't finna have my great grands and my great grandmas turning over in their grave with their feathers on, talking about you fool, you done gave up the land. Salute, tribe up.
You big dummy.
Hey man, I'm Blackjack, man. This House of Cons, man. We gonna come back at y'all a little bit later, man. Tribe up, we out. Peace. I gotta get back to work on some genealogy, my dog. I got work to do. Tribe up. Hey, and anybody else wanna get their genealogy done, go to my homepage, hit the About Me section. My email is in the About Me section. Send me an email, put Family Tree in the title. I got a couple people I'm working on. Salute to my niggas. But we'll be back. Tribe up, we out.